I am an Omega, and I was sentenced to spend 4 years in a military academy filled to the brim with alphas. It sounded like the setup for a bad joke, but it was my reality. I smoothed the sheets of my dormitory bed, muttering under my breath as I cursed the artificial intelligence in my head. Silly beep. I whispered, my hands trembling slightly as I tucked in the corners of the military-issue blanket. You promised me a paradise, and instead, you let me stay here with a bunch of walking testosterone bombs. The system's mechanical voice buzzed in my mind, oblivious to my panic. But look at the facilities, host. It's top tier. I ignored it. On the first day of the military academy, the cruel twist of fate was revealed. I was an Omega who had hurriedly escaped from a desolate wasteland planet, only to be shoved into a den of lions. I was going to die here. To delay the inevitable, I had entered the school a day early, hoping to scout the terrain and prepare myself mentally. The dormitory was a luxurious, large flat, surprisingly quiet. I had assumed, foolishly, that I would be alone for a while. Just let me stay here in peace, I muttered to the empty room. Unexpectedly, the click of a latch shattered the silence. I froze. A person walked out of the bathroom, steam billowing out behind him. The room was dim, the lights off, but I could make out a tall, imposing silhouette. You said you were an O, the stranger said, his voice deep and laced with confusion. Who are you? Standing there in the dark. I panicked. I wanted to solve the lighting situation by myself. I stammered, my back pressing against the bunk. Don't think I'm weird. I just lay on the bed and was terrified. It was a clumsy excuse. Although I wasn't interested in men in that way, I knew the biology of this world. If an Omega's identity was discovered, if I surrendered to an alpha's pheromones, I would become subservient. I didn't escape the wasteland to become someone's pet. The stranger stepped into the sliver of light coming from the window. He slowly wiped his hands with a black towel, his movements predatory and graceful. You are not polite enough, he observed, tossing the towel onto a chair. But your appearance makes up for it. If I were the examiner, I would give you 4 points for your first impression. How do you know if my impression score is 4 points or not? I shot back, defensive. It's none of your business since I've already entered the military school. I lay back down on the bed and stared at the ceiling, thinking about the bleak days to come. The future was dire, and the room was dark. My new roommate, I soon learned, was Jesse. His family was rich, powerful, and apparently influential enough to secure a 2-person suite in a dormitory designed for 4. The next day, the peace was broken by a loud banging on the door. A man rushed in, heading straight for Jesse with a dramatic wail. It was agreed that we would live on the flat floor, just the 2 of us, the intruder cried, looking at Jesse with betrayal. But you didn't wait for me. Jesse didn't even look up from his tablet. You are the one who arrived late, Lucas. Lucas turned his attention to me, his eyes narrowing. He approached my bed. Brother, can you move out? I'll give you 300,000 credits. No, I said, shaking my head firmly. If you can find a single room, I can consider it. But I'm not moving to a quad. If there are more people in the dormitory, there are more risks. For a hidden Omega like me, crowded rooms were death traps. The alphas I had researched were adolescents, prone to leaking pheromones. It was dangerous. Jesse, at least, seemed disciplined. He had emitted no scent from last night until now. He was a restrained person, which was the safest option I had. Lucas's face cracked with frustration. My dad donated a single-room wing. After paying 20 million credits to the school, I couldn't even secure a private spot next to Jesse. He slumped onto the spare chair. Never mind that. When they went out together later, I heard Lucas gnashing his teeth, his voice drifting through the closing door. If you don't change roommates, don't blame me. I'm so lazy, I won't do any cleaning. I ignored him. Once the coast was clear, I lay on the bed and pulled out my terminal to call my little brothers back home on the wasteland. The video call connected, revealing faces that were gentle, beautiful, and full of personality. Liam and Justin. They were my treasures. The only flaw in our dynamic was that I was also a damn boy, an Omega just like them, pretending to be a tough alpha. The system interrupted my thoughts. How is your school? The teachers are very gentle, and the students are very nice. It is simply my dream school. They are full of sweet-smelling and soft little ones. I can't imagine how happy I would be if I stayed there. My side is a nightmare. I thought back at it. Not to mention that there are all smelly and tough alphas with quirks and bad tempers. And there is one person who wants to deal with me with harsh words. Don't worry, the system said. Who is your big brother, Ronald? No matter how smelly or tough the alpha is, you can beat him down. That's right, I sighed. Is your living allowance sufficient? Liam asked through the screen. There are so many ways to make money in an alpha military academy. Remember to tell us if you need anything. Don't be deceived by an alpha just for a little money. I'm fine, I lied. We were trash from the bottom of the galaxy. We were not qualified to come to the capital school, but I had been kidnapped by this system. I decided to play along because the system promised me money as long as I completed tasks. I used those resources to bring a few people that the Wasteland had been trying to hide to the capital planet. If the Wasteland's people were not protected, they would be caught. There was no Omega protection law on the Wasteland because whenever an Omega appeared, they disappeared inexplicably. No one knew whether they were imprisoned or worse. But on the capital planet, an Omega was a treasure. I lay in bed, planning how to make a fortune in these 4 years. My registered status was Alpha. There were no Omega inhibitors distributed to students. I could only buy them on the black market, and they cost a fortune. How can you make a lot of money? Jesse suddenly spoke from the doorway. I turned over, my eyes wide open. Why are you here? Didn't you go out with Lucas? He's back again, Jesse said, walking to his desk. When you said that alphas are smelly and hard, he started to blame me for being so absorbed that I didn't hear him. He took his coat and headed for the door again. Before closing it, he looked back at me. Don't go to an Omega if you don't have money. They deserve better. I almost threw my pillow at the closed door. It was none of his business. He thought I was a sweet-talking scumbag with no money or power. That was good. If he took the initiative to draw a clear line with me, the possibility of being exposed was even lower. It was late at night when someone knocked on the door. I was impatient, deep in a set of online questions I was doing for cash. Who is it? I shouted. I'm Lucas. The voice came through the wood. Please open the door. If you don't open it, I'll refuse to sleep elsewhere. He's Jesse's friend, not mine, I muttered. I took an order to do online calculus, and I'm busy. Jesse is drunk. Lucas yelled. His terminal won't unlock, and we can't enter the dormitory. Please open the door. It's none of my business, I replied. I'll give you 100,000 credits. I swallowed my dirty words. I had worked for nearly 4 hours, from 5 in the afternoon to almost 9, for a measly 300 credits. Lucas opened his mouth and offered a fortune. He was truly worthy of being a second-generation rich kid. Really or not? I asked. You add me as a friend first and transfer the money to me. After Lucas added me and the transfer notification pinged, I opened the dormitory door. Immediately, I smelled high-end wine, fragrant and potent. But beneath it, I almost felt weak in my legs. There was something wrong with the wine. Lucas pushed Jesse toward me and quickly stepped back, grabbing the handle of the door. My brother has reached his susceptible period. Please take care of him. His pheromones are a bit aggressive. I really can't take care of it. I protested, trying to hold up Jesse's heavy frame. If you refuse, I will call the police and ask you to return the 100,000 credits. Lucas shouted before slamming the door shut. So, the wine smell was actually Jesse's pheromones. The scent rushed into my nasal cavity, overwhelming and spicy. My legs turned to jelly. I opened my terminal and clicked on the transaction. As expected, there was a note in Lucas's transfer. Take care of Jesse for 1 night. The good news was that I was bound to the system and wouldn't go in a heat randomly just because of alpha pheromones. If it weren't for this guarantee, I wouldn't have taken the risk to enter the Alpha Military Academy. I gathered all my strength and spent half an hour dragging Jesse to his bed. Seeing that his side profile looked surprisingly peaceful, I took a picture and sent it to my group chat. My roommate, I typed. He's down for the count. I was chatting happily in the group and didn't notice that Jesse's hand had reached over. Before I could react, he pulled me into his arms. His canine teeth grazed the sensitive skin of my neck. It smells so good, he murmured, his voice thick with instinct. Alpha is indeed a virtuous person. I struggled for a long time before pushing him away. The glands on my neck throbbed. An alpha with a nasty biting habit was dangerous. Worried that he would show off his bestiality again due to his susceptible period, I found some climbing rope. I tied him up, covered him with a quilt, and went to my own bed, hoping to sleep peacefully. In the middle of the night, I was woken up by several unbearable groans. I quickly turned on the light. Jesse was thrashing, his skin turning red, clearly not in his right mind. I sneaked over to check the strength of the knots. Snap! The rope had been broken off by sheer brute force. A strong arm wrapped around my waist, hauling me in. Don't go. This was the first time I felt the disparity in power between an Omega and a Prime Alpha. The danger was suffocating. System, I screamed internally. Give me more strength, save me. Jesse buried his face in my neck. He was about to bite me. I braced for pain, but he only grazed me with the tips of his teeth, biting lightly, playfully. He hugged me like a lifeline. Finally, after what felt like hours, he fell asleep. I felt I had taken that 100,000 credits at a loss. My neck had been licked for half an hour. The skin was wet, painful, and itchy, and my glands were swollen. The next day, Jesse woke up holding his head as if he had a migraine. He went to the bathroom to wash up and came out silently to change. He put on his clothes and leaned against the sink. I coughed lightly. Jesse, you attacked me yesterday. I have to be compensated for a work injury. I rolled up my sleeves. There were 2 big handprints on my arms. You caught me. I lifted up my shirt and pointed to my side. The handprints on the waist are equally wide. You caught me there too. Jesse's eyes fell deeply on me, his gaze darkening. He looked at his own hands with some disbelief, then back at me. How much does a work injury count for? Twice the salary is not excessive, right? I said boldly. Yesterday, I earned 100,000, so you have to give me 200,000. Jesse was silent for a moment. He walked up to me, his voice deep. Terminal. We tapped our devices together, and he transferred 200,000 to me. Then he stopped talking and looked at me with complicated eyes. He started, then hesitated. You did a lot last night. If you didn't do anything else, I can't say that I shook my head firmly. No, nothing happened. In the afternoon, Lucas came to the dormitory to make sure there were no casualties. He put a bag of apples on my table. Thank you for your hard work, Lucas said, sounding genuinely relieved. You don't know that my brother's mental strength is SS level. He is very manic during his susceptible period. Last time I took care of him, he sent me to the hospital for 3 days. He picked up an apple, rubbed it on his shirt, and took a bite. Fortunately, you are here. You need to go to the hospital for a checkup. Have you checked? Your thin arms and legs may have internal injuries. We have private doctors, you don't have to pay. I pushed the fruit back. No need. Take it away. It's a fair trade. I thought about it for a second. If necessary, I can help Jesse through the susceptible period in the future. But the price is going to increase. At least 300,000. Lucas gave me a thumbs up. Legend. That's it, I said. I can treat you as a brother. Would you like to go to the arena? Lucas asked, poking his head closer. Tickets are on me. It costs 1,000 credits just to enter. I paused. I had heard that there was an underground dueling ground in City A. It was bloody and crazy. It was a place where many alphas went to hunt for excitement. Ordinary people could become rich overnight, or they might disappear completely. It existed on the edge of the law. I planned to go there eventually. It was the fastest way to make money, and I had system buffs to protect me. Since someone was offering a free ticket, why refuse? Sure, I said. Jesse looked back at me, his expression unreadable. I asked them to go ahead and wait for me at the school gate. I sent a message in the small Omega group chat. Big brother Ron is going out. Do you need anything? I'll buy it. Brother, we want to meet you, Liam replied instantly. I thought about it. Okay. After we finalize the time, I plan to go to the arena to see it first, and then I'll meet you. We met at the Haiching Underground Arena, tucked away in a dark alley. Because it walked the edge of the law, it was hidden behind layers of security and urban decay. After getting out of the car, Jesse and Lucas led the way through many twists and turns, navigating a maze of backstreets before finally reaching the entrance. I made a mental map, but I soon realized I had forgotten how to get out. We passed through a dark passage. Suddenly, the roar of a crowd exploded, and the music was deafening. Jesse handed me a black mask. Put it on, he said, his expression indifferent. Lucas put his arm around my shoulder kindly. This place is a mixed bag of good and bad. Anyone who bets or loses their life in a fight has their own way. Don't let people know who you are. All disputes will end in the arena. That is the rule here. There were two alphas on the stage fighting, their bodies stained with blood. Alpha pheromones spilled out into the stands, and the people around us were high on adrenaline, screaming like animals. Crazy Lion. Beat him to death. Beat him to death. The man on the ground had been beaten so hard he couldn't move. The fighter known as Crazy Lion was still smashing him in the face. I felt like vomiting. That alpha on the ground was about to be crippled. Most of these people were from the wasteland or low-level planets. They fought on the field to satisfy the sadistic desires of nobles. The strict hierarchy of the ABO world was on full display. Jesse and Lucas stood clean and noble, as if this filth had nothing to do with them. The alpha who was dragged away, severely injured and disabled, was not a person in their eyes, but an eliminated performer. An eyesore. I realized then that I would never be true friends with them. It was too bloody to earn pocket money here. It was better for me to fleece Jesse and complete system tasks than to participate in this slaughter. I can't stand it, I muttered. Although I was 178 centimeters tall, if I went down there, I would be torn to pieces. Jesse suddenly lowered his eyes and looked at me. TSK. Afraid? I just can't stand it either. Some people sacrifice their lives to participate in the show, I said bitterly. Some people are arrogant and pity them enough to give some reward money. Jesse looked at me quietly for a long time. Those are their own choices. The Crazy Lion was beaten like this too, I said. Then why are you here? Jesse looked at me teasingly. For the first time, I saw playfulness in his indifferent eyes. Fishing. What? I asked. He patted me on the shoulder. My little roommate, I'm sorry for using you as bait. The next second, gunshots rang out in the arena. The crowd screamed. Why is there a gun in the arena? Who is carrying the gun? I saw a muzzle flash. The target was me. I was so sluggish that I couldn't move. I was from a trash star. I had never seen a gunfight before. My legs went weak. The trigger clicked again. Jesse suddenly pulled me. I wanted to die. Move. I woke up from my trance and ran with him. Where are you chasing the guy surnamed Fu? A voice roared behind us. I was dragged away by him, my heart pounding so hard it hurt. My face turned pale before I realized what that fishing comment meant. Jesse had enemies who wanted to kill him. He and Lucas had come to this gray zone many times, planning to lure the snake out of its hole. But the enemy hadn't taken the bait until Jesse brought me. I seemed weaker, a drag that would constrain Jesse. Did I kill him in a previous life? Why did he do this to me? We sprinted into the alley network. The attackers were flanking us from both sides, forming a circle. I thought I was going to die, but Jesse suddenly pulled me into a narrow, dark crevice between two buildings. I was about to struggle, but Jesse covered my mouth. Don't move if you don't want to die. He put one hand on my waist, pressing me directly into his arms. My back was pressed against his chest. Only then did I feel the height difference between his 189 and my 178. It made me feel very small. I moved my hips away uncomfortably, but he pinched my waist hard. Stop. Move again, and I'll knock you out. How can I not move? I thought. You have to stand so close to me. The dark alley was incredibly crowded. It was barely wide enough for one person. Jesse's breath fell on the back of my neck. My glands suddenly felt hot. Oh my God, no. You can't suddenly go into heat at this time. Jesse was still covering my mouth. I wanted to discuss with him if he could stop getting too close to my neck. Usually, if a man was this close, I wouldn't feel such strong discomfort. But now, with the adrenaline and the pheromones. The pheromone matching between me and Jesse was 98%. It was dangerously high. I tried to speak against his hand. Jesse's fingers pinched my jaw. If you dare to speak again, I'll pull out your tongue. Damn, this is a den of thieves. I know you're scared. I was forced to shed a few physiological tears. Because my mouth was covered, saliva flowed to my chin and onto his hand. I'm really sorry, I thought desperately. If I promise not to speak, could you let go of your hand? Jesse was unmoved. I could only find a more comfortable position and raise my head. 10 minutes later, the heat radiating from Jesse's chest suddenly retreated a little. Fuck, he whispered. I widened my eyes. He was disgusted by me. My eyes accused him in the dark. But suddenly he became even more uncomfortable and tried to take a step back. There was no room. Don't look at me like that, Jesse hissed, his voice strained. It makes me feel like I'm committing a crime. What? I've just passed my susceptible period, he muttered, looking away. This is normal. This is a physiological reaction. Half an hour later, the alley was quiet. The people who were chasing Jesse were gone. When I was about to go out, Jesse pressed me back again. Wait a moment. His voice was hoarse. On the outside, he looked cold and indifferent, but secretly, his body was betraying him. It took a full 40 minutes for us to come out, both of us embarrassed. My face was red, and I glared at him fiercely. He answered his phone, regaining his composure. Yes, we're out. Caught the guy? Good. I'm coming over immediately. He was about to walk away, but he turned around and stuffed a car key into my hand. I know you can drive. The car is outside. Drive back by yourself. I was speechless. I still remember the twists and turns in the alley. Who knows where your car is parked? I don't recognize your car either. Jesse was silent for a moment. He seemed a little more patient than before. I'll lead the way. As we walked, I called the Omegas I had made an appointment with. We're almost there. Wait for me at Jeanine Plaza. I'll be there in a moment. Jesse stopped and looked at me. Calling your Omega? I raised my eyebrows. It's true that Alpha Omega love is healthier, but I didn't expect that there would be an Omega waiting for you. I scoffed. I'm better than you, right? My terminal suddenly buzzed. I looked down to see a transfer of 1.2 million credits. Jesse's voice was deep. Be nice to your Omega, and don't let others know about today's matter. Tisk. He said it so ambiguously, as if something had happened between us in that alley. When we reached the main road, Jesse turned to look at me irritably. Don't spend the money I gave you on an Omega. It's my mental damage fee. Spend it on yourself. I didn't drive Jesse's car. It was a limited edition, low-slung beast. If I scratched it, I couldn't afford to pay for the paint. Most importantly, Jesse's enemies knew that car. It was a moving target. I wasn't stupid. My friends, Liam and Justin, were waiting for me at the Gold and Silver Plaza. They raised their hands and greeted me with enthusiasm. Big brother Ron. My heart almost melted. Hey, you waited a long time. Come here. The healing power of a fragrant and soft Omega is much better than being with those smelly and hard alphas, I thought, hugging them. Who is that? Liam asked, looking behind me. I know him, Justin whispered. That's brother Ron's roommate. Jesse. I turned around and saw Jesse. He had followed me. Jesse took a step forward. This is the first time Ronald's roommate has met you. Are you all his Omegas? He was tall, handsome, gentle, and polite. Liam and Justin blushed instantly. It doesn't count, Liam giggled. Brother Ron is ours. Brother, he helped us get out of the wasteland, Justin added. He is a good brother for life. Jesse took it upon himself to act as a tour guide. He took us to expensive boutiques without blinking, buying gifts for the two of them. To be honest, he was the perfect scumbag. Handsome, rich, polite, generous. He could take care of the emotions of everyone in the room. As long as he was willing, any number of Omegas would choose to be with him. I felt a little discouraged. Being compared in the mating market made me uncomfortable. Jeeja helped me a lot, Jesse said when it was time to separate. Liam and Justin blinked at me. 2 messages appeared in our group chat. Liam wrote, after the test, he is a good alpha. Brother Ron, go for it. Justin wrote, that's so generous. I'll help you fleece him more. Keep an eye on him, Brother Ron. I sent a rolling eyes emoji to the system. Don't you need to buy things? Jesse suddenly asked me. You don't seem to have much in your dormitory. TSK, I don't know how to shop for myself. I lied. I had money now, but I had to save for the days when I couldn't make money. Just as I was about to take a taxi, Jesse stopped me. Can you help me? I was shocked. Why are you still here? Just in time, he said, shoving bags into my hands. Share the load, good roommate. I still remember you using me as bait and almost getting me killed, I grumbled. It's not like you died, Jesse replied dryly. On the way back, I dozed off in his car. The air conditioning was perfect, the leather smelled of wealth, and the soothing music lulled me to sleep. The nerves that had been tense in the arena finally relaxed. When I woke up, the car was still moving, but it was dark outside. We're not there yet, I asked, rubbing my eyes. Jesse turned the steering wheel. I arrived early. I saw you sleeping, and I didn't have the heart to wake you up. I've already circled the city 7 times. 7 times. I sat up straight. Is gas free for you? Is it so difficult to wake me up? I looked out the window. What time is it now? Jesse looked at his watch nonchalantly. The curfew happened to be at 11 o'clock. Curfew. I glared at him. What should we do? No choice, he said innocently. We can't go back to the dorms. He stopped the car and suddenly leaned toward me. No, you are such a good student. Surely you can stay out all night once. He was too close. I looked back uncomfortably. It's none of your business. Jesse wasn't deterred. I have never seen an alpha like you get angry after being teased. Not only is it not lethal, but it is also very cute. Tisk, I said loudly. Only perverts can have alpha-alpha relationships. My orientation, Jesse said, withdrawing his gaze, has always been Omega. He unbuckled his seatbelt, opened the car door, and pulled me out. I'll show you the sea of good things. We were at a famous high-end club, a gold-selling cave. Everyone was respectful to him. Young Master Fu, the manager, bowed. Jesse returned to his indifference. Send 3 Omegas to the private room. I followed him, staring daggers into his back. Just as I thought, rich alphas were all the same. He pretended to be noble in school, but once he left, his true nature was exposed. In the private room, 3 Omegas clung to me immediately. Jesse sat opposite, drinking red wine, looking at me with a half smile. If you like it, have fun, he said. I grunted. At first, I was embarrassed. But then I noticed something. I saw the mark of the wasteland branded on their exposed collarbones. People from higher planets would come to the wasteland to pick Omegas. These people were branded and forced into this life. I felt more and more that the gap between nobles like Jesse and people like us was insurmountable. We were toys to them. I gently rubbed my fingertips on the brand of the Omega next to me. I felt distressed. Master, please be gentle, the Omega whispered. I leaned in. Are you from the wasteland? The 3 Omegas paused and whispered to each other. Jesse's face began to darken. He got up and came to me. You're addicted to playing? I was silent. For the first time, I didn't choke him with a witty retort. I raised my head. Jesse, can you let them go? Just these 3. Please, I added. Jesse looked at me seriously and suddenly sighed. I now believe that you like Omegas. He called the manager. I'm redeeming these 3. Why don't you go and rob a bank? The manager protested at the low price Jesse offered. These are high-quality goods. Do you know who I am? Jesse asked quietly. The manager started sweating. Young Master Fu. Okay. After swiping his card, Jesse asked me, what are you going to do with them? I pondered for a while and asked the system in my mind, is there any potion that can remove these brands? As long as the mark of the wasteland is removed, they can live normal lives. Host, you are making things difficult for me. The system whined. Producing drugs that don't exist in this world requires a lot of system energy. If it doesn't work, I won't do the task, I threatened. I have money now. Okay. The system relented. You hold Jesse's hand for 2 hours. I will give you a bottle of potion. Kiss for 15 minutes. Get another bottle. Sleep in the same bed. Get a third. I rely on a pervert system, I muttered. Jesse has the most energy, the system explained. I can give you a bottle if you hold his hand. What else do you want? A bicycle. Got it, I sighed. I turned to Jesse. I'll rent them a house. I can settle them. Back in the car, I sat in the passenger seat and thought about how to hold an alpha's hand without looking insane. Jesse turned the steering wheel and suddenly said, the look in your eyes makes me think you are interested in me. Why not? I blurted out. Jesse is my roommate. Jesse suddenly swerved, almost hitting the median. He parked the car, loosened his tie, and looked at me. Ronald, do you know what you are doing? I swallowed. So what if I invite you? Jesse's eyes darkened. If it's an invitation, I won't be polite. He leaned over, rubbing my chin with his fingertips, and pressed his lips to mine in an aggressive kiss that almost made me breathless. You, I gasped when he pulled back. Has anyone ever said that you look like a beautiful Omega when you're flustered? He whispered. He pulled me into his lap. His hand touched the hem of my clothes. Stop, I shouted, holding his hand down. I don't want to. What's wrong? Jesse's voice was hoarse. Don't you want it too? I don't want to be the one below. I lied. Jesse stopped moving. He looked a little unruly in the dim light. What should I do? Ronald, you have to help me. I'm suffering. I ended up helping him with my hand for half an hour. I've never had such a rich nightlife in my entire life, I thought bitterly as I wiped my hand. But with that great achievement, I got 3 bottles of potion. The next day, I gave the potions to the 3 Omegas. This can remove the mark on your body, I told them. From now on, you are brand new citizens. They applied the liquid. The black brands faded away as if they had never existed. They cried and hugged me. Thank you, Brother Ron. When I left, I gave them my contact info. Jesse was waiting for me, looking sour. They can survive on their own. If they call you once a day, you are customer service. How can you have time to accompany me? Why should I accompany you? I asked. Jesse took a step back in shock. I'm your boyfriend. If you don't accompany me, who will you accompany? Huh? I stared at him. When did you become my boyfriend? We did something so intimate last night, and you said you're not my boyfriend? Jesse looked accused. You scumbag. You're not responsible, he muttered, buckling my seat belt aggressively. Does it have to be the last step to count? I looked out the window. Jesse and I were officially in love, according to him. The progress of the system's tasks kept rising. I didn't expect that someone so difficult to handle would be so in love, the system lamented. You make a perfect couple. An old house on fire. Jesse climbed into my bed at night and kissed me every morning. I stopped him at the last moment every time, and his eyes became more and more resentful. Do you not love me if you don't let me touch you? He asked one night. Do you have another dog? No, I said, coaxing him. I just want to wait. I posted about the potion on the internet anonymously. Soon, a superstar singer named Gabriel contacted me. He had the mark of the wasteland, hidden under a tattoo of a black rose. We met. He was beautiful, but sad. My brother, Gavin, entered the Alpha School to study pharmacy for me, Gabriel explained. He wanted to create a cure for the mark. He was caught and is now in a mental hospital. I showed him the potion. I can help. Just then, Jesse called. Ronald, where are you? Have you gone to meet another Omega again? You don't take me seriously at all. I'm with a client, I whispered. The potion research. Who? Jesse asked sharply. This matter is very important. Who is it? Singer Gabriel, I said. And his brother Gavin. Don't hang up, Jesse commanded. I'll be there soon. Gabriel looked at me with a sudden shift in demeanor. Ronald, let's go to the laboratory. Just us. Wait a minute, I said, backing away. My roommate is coming. I can't wait, Gabriel said. He signaled his bodyguards. I'm sorry. I have to take the credit for this potion to save my brother. I have to lock you up. I was drugged and thrown into a car. I woke up in an interrogation room. Jesse was there, but he wasn't tied up. He was the one interrogating Gabriel. Gabriel was on the ground, looking beaten. Jesse snapped his fingers, and an alpha poured a bucket of cold water on the singer. I don't ask twice, Jesse said, his voice terrifyingly calm. Why did you touch him? Don't kill me. Gabriel screamed. I quickly took Jesse's hand. Jesse, stop. He just wanted to save his brother. Jesse squatted in front of me, holding my face. You are too kind. You should be glad you are okay. We went to the mental hospital. I used the system to heal Gavin's mind. The two brothers hugged, weeping. Jesse held a press conference the next day. A technology has been developed that can eliminate the marks of humiliation on wasteland planets, he announced to the galaxy. The developer is my partner, Ronald. I was hailed as a hero, but I was in endless fear. The stress had triggered something. I went to Jesse's villa to hide. The heat that I had suppressed for years surged forward. My glands burned. Jesse tried to open the bedroom door. Don't come over, I shouted, my voice hoarse. I'm sick. I'm coming in, Jesse said. He pushed open the door. The room was thick with the scent of a sweet, distressingly potent omega and heat. Jesse froze. His eyes widened with disbelief, then realization, and finally, a dark, possessive hunger. The pheromones are from you, he whispered. Ronald, you are actually an omega. He walked over and pulled me into his arms. You liar. You unforgivable liar. He brushed his lips against my glands. Please, call me husband, and I will help you. Husband, I sobbed, unable to think. Good, he growled. The beta housekeeper heard nothing but the wind in the garden for the next 7 days. When I finally emerged, my body felt like it had been taken apart and put back together. The system was eating virtual melon seeds. Congratulations, it said. Task complete. You have successfully conquered the Prime Alpha. Shut up, I groaned. Jesse wrapped his arms around me from behind, burying his face in my neck. Where are you going, wife? The susceptible period isn't over yet. It's been a week. I protested. I have a lot of time to make up for. Jesse smiled against my skin. In this ABO world, I was an omega, and I had insufficient stamina to outrun him. So, I stopped running.